thing that that's an actual Emmy. We won it. So you're part of the we.
Oh, yeah?
It's nice to see you, Pookie. You're only here for this one day, right? Then you're gone.
Hours.
Then you're out for like 2 weeks or something like that. Well, you know what?
3.
Have a good time. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Kevin Durant is allegedly undecided. Juwan Howard takes over at Michigan, and Drake gives Nick Nurse a rubdown.
Wow.
But we begin today with the Toronto Raptors evening their series with Milwaukee at 2 by dumping the Bucks by 18 points. Once again, Giannis Antetokounmpo did not dominate. In fact, he was minus 19 while he was on the floor. Toronto seems to know how to deal with him. Wilbon, this series is now technically even. You and I have both leaned towards Milwaukee.
We have.
Where are you now?
I don't know where to lean. I'm straight up. This is going back to Milwaukee where the role players will be better. Malcolm Brogdon's not going to miss his first 7 shots at home in Milwaukee. I don't think they'll be better. But, Tony, and the Toronto bench, which has now shown up and really had its say for 2 games at home, those guys have to go on the road.
Yeah, it's home.
Well, let me tell you something that just sort of revealed itself, at least to me. Maybe others understood this. Antetokounmpo is a terrific player. He's probably going to be the MVP this year. But you know what? He's limited. His way of impacting the game has limits. He has no shot to speak of. And when you get a great defender like Kawhi Leonard leading a double team, Kawhi's very specific in pointing this out. They double him hard on all the important possessions. And you know what happens? He wants to spin move, and people go, no, we've seen that now for 3 or 4 games. This is not December where you get another guy the next night and another guy tomorrow night. No. You can't do that and you can't shoot. You got some problems. And so this series, to me, has turned.
So now, am I to interpret that as you now think Toronto will win the series?
I think they very much can. I think it's even, and I think it's going 7.
So, to me, the most unbelievable statistic in all of the NBA is that Steph Curry, when he's on the court and Kevin Durant is not, that they're 31-1.
Right.
But the second most unbelievable statistic to me is about Kawhi Leonard, that apparently they're 10-1, Toronto, when he plays but scores fewer than 20 points. Last night he had 19.
Yeah.
He is by far their best player.
He's the best player in the series.
By far.
He's the best player in the series.
I have to say I don't understand
I'll tell you
that.
why.
This series has become to me what Golden State Houston was through 4. And so I still think Milwaukee wins 5 and 6.
I'm going to tell you this.
But
Kyle Lowry explained this wonderfully last night. They played 22 games without Kawhi Leonard during the regular season.
Yeah, he took a lot of time
Tony, like
off.
you pointed out, in that game 7 where he was going to be there everything, they withdraw.
Yeah.
But on a night like last night when Kawhi, his legs are so bad, he doesn't even know which one to limp on. They looked at him and they said to themselves and to us in the media after the game, we can't wait. We cannot do this to him. We got to play, and they did.
Well, they hadn't done that before. It was surprising to me.
He was still pretty good. Even on one
but
leg.
It wasn't like he was.
Best player in the series. He is. Not Antetokounmpo. Not yet. For the first time, we have somebody pumping the brakes on the Kevin Durant to the Knicks speculation, and it's coming from KD's agent, whom many cite as the primary reason for the speculation. Rich Kleiman, who drips New York, told the Wall Street Journal that KD is 100% undecided about where to go. Quote, he really doesn't know, and I really don't know. Close quote. The Warriors owners feel they have a real shot at keeping KD in the Bay Area, and the Clippers will tell you privately they love their chances. Tony, what do you believe?
So you're asking me essentially to go inside Kevin Durant's head, and I can't. But I'll tell you what it looks like from the outside. It looks like he's a very unhappy person most of the time. He takes some joy in playing basketball, but doesn't seem to take any joy in any of the things that attend to being a great star in basketball. He doesn't seem to want to do that. So I find it totally believable that he doesn't know where he's going to be next year. Totally believable. Because I think he wonders what will make me happy, and I don't think he knows that.
I don't know that he wonders that. But before this Eastern Conference series, I spent, as you alluded to, some time in the West. And that time was around the Warriors. And some of that was around Kevin Durant. And I'm not a betting man. I don't really bet on anything. I would bet he doesn't know. And I would bet he doesn't feel he needs to know. Kevin Durant, the one thing I do know about him is he's an inquisitive dude. He's curious. And he seeks expert opinion, not just from some dope, but experts. I mean, Kevin Durant is invested in that, and that's who he's been, and that's part of how he got to Golden State, and not all of it had to do with basketball. So I have felt all along when these reports are out there, it's all but signed and sealed in New York. I believe this is a bunch of junk. And I believe Kevin Durant does not know today where he's going.
We're agreed on that.
Yeah.
He may want to go to New York and he may want to go to L.A. This is the part that I have trouble with.
What?
He is on a great team, an all-time team. The players on that team who are great themselves have sacrificed their games for him. And all they do is win championships. If you're not happy there, where are you going to be happy?
Maybe that isn't all that makes you happy. You're presuming that winning, you're applying you're applying the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson model.
That's what I grew up with. He likes basketball. That gives him pleasure.
Yeah.
He's on the best team.
Yeah, maybe there's other stuff.
Well, I don't know what it is,
Right,
but we are agreed he could be undecided.
Yes,
absolutely.
I think he is undecided.
This morning on the Today Show, which is the show that I watch every day, your boy, Adam Silver, came out and said the most reasonable thing I have ever heard him say, that realistically sports are a television show. And he wants to make it more convenient to watch NBA games for people in the Eastern time zone. Silver said, and I quote, 50% of television households in this country are in the Eastern time zone. You see how many television households turn off around 11:15, 11:30 at night. It may make sense to play a little bit earlier in the West. That's something we're going to talk to our teams about, unquote. Wilbon, why am I so sure you don't think it's smart for Silver to start West Coast NBA games at 6 Pacific and 9 Eastern?
I'm not going to say it's not smart. Adam Silver's really smart. I'm not going to say that. By the way, this to me seems like it wasn't Adam Silver. It was you. You and your doctors.
I channeled him.
You got to him. No, you injected him with some Anthony Kornheiser serum.
I rejected him with truth serum.
That's right. And so now you get this.
Finally, a living, breathing commissioner says something that makes sense.
I talked to Adam Silver last night. We did not get to this. I don't think it's not smart. I understand it probably is smart. I don't like it. I reject and loathe the presumed domination of the eastern part of the United States of America over everyone else. Yeah. I am not of you. Right. I am not from you. I don't like most of you people. And so I reject this. You people. Eastern time zone.
So 75% includes the Midwest. That's an enormous amount of the country.
It is.
You have a business. Your business is television ratings. Your ratings went down.
Right.
People click off minute by minute by minute. Because, Mike, you know what? I love you.
It's late.
But you stay up till 2.
I do.
And most people don't stay up until 2. Most people have a job in the morning. You don't.
I just said I cannot call this not smart.
Thank you.
I think that this is when I talk about Eastern bias, and look, I do spend a lot of time in the West, and I have come to love the West. Love it.
You and Will Rogers.
I prefer it to all you people.
That's right.
And Adam Silver is now the you people.
Jeff, he's coming at you too. It's not just me. It's
here's
you too.
What he risks. As the board, the United States, the board, the game board, tilts west. It's already tilted. How many of these people will say, you know what, take your product and stuff it? And you got to ask yourself that.
And that's fair. But right now, in 2019, it hasn't tilted. It's 75%, including the first 2 time zones. It's 50%.
What's growing in America? Tell me what's growing. What region is growing?
I got something growing over here on my arm.
What's growing in America?
The West, the South as well.
The West.
The West to some degree. But not that third time zone. Not that thing with all the goats in the middle of it. There's another thing that Silver said that I loved. Because you want to sit here on the set all the time and you say, enough with LeBron James. We don't need LeBron James. We have other stars. And that's fine. Okay.
Right now.
But what he said was, we are getting hurt in our ratings by the fact that LeBron James is not in the playoffs and that he's in the West and people don't see. Mike.
What do you want to do? Give him a bye into the playoffs automatically?
The number one attraction that the NBA has is the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
It's the Golden State Warriors. You got to get them on earlier.
A team whose season ticket holders perhaps can't run out of work to get to a 6 o'clock game. The people who pay the most money in the NBA, in Adam Silver's league, are sitting in chairs in San Francisco starting in November and Los Angeles.
Adam Silver is looking at people who are season ticket holders and saying thank you, but we are an expansive universe and we need television.
I'm not going to say it's not smart. I'm just saying it's got some risk.
Big win for me.
I don't want
Boom. Put it on the board.
Has it happened yet? Because I don't think it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Will that be a win for you?
I'm in his ear.
When the games are starting at 7 again?
I'm in his ear.
According to Jeff Goodman of something called Stadium, Juwan Howard is apparently set to become the coach at the University of Michigan, where he was one of the stars of not only the most famous team in that school's history, but one of the most famous in college basketball history. While Chris Webber and Jalen Rose have made it big in television, Howard went straight into coaching. After his 19-year playing career, do you know he played that long?
Yes, I did.
He's been an assistant under boss Pat Riley.
Because he started here.
Spo,
he started in Washington.
In Miami for the last 6 years, an assistant, and highly regarded in pro basketball circles. Tony, does hiring Juwan set up well for Michigan to remain relevant?
Juwan Howard has never blown a whistle as a head coach. Now, you can say to me, Steve Kerr never blew a whistle as a head coach, but Steve Kerr went from pros to pros. He had been a GM as well. He'd been on television. He watched the pros.
Pat Riley
Juwan
went from a TV table to the pros.
Watching the pros. Juwan Howard is being asked to go to college. He's from, it's his alma mater, Michigan. I don't even think he would have gotten an interview if he wasn't from Michigan. Let's look around for a second. Clyde Drexler to Houston, returned home, didn't work.
Right.
Chris Mullen, St. John's, returned home, didn't work. Patrick Ewing, jury's still out. Looks pretty good so far.
Yeah.
But to me, this is an elite program now, Michigan. Twice to
Penny
the final
Hardaway's
game.
really on stage. You can't. He's on the front burner.
You
right
can't
now.
compare
Can't judge it. Can't judge
because he's from Memphis.
Okay.
High school, coached in Memphis.
Yeah.
Was in Memphis,
Yeah.
and is so. I'm leery. I like him. I'm a little leery.
I love this hire. Juwan Howard, like Patrick Ewing, they're the guys who cut their teeth and did it for a while, and people in the circle thought, hey, this guy needs a chance. This guy has earned the chance.
Oh, he's earned the chance.
And Juwan Howard.
You're asking me, is it good?
Right. The name, those guys' names are magic in Wolverine land.
Sure.
They are. And I like going from pro to college much more than I like
college
going
to pro?
from college to pro, Tony.
So you think Beeline would have a harder time in the pros than Juwan?
Juwan Howard grew up about 10 blocks south of me. He grew up in Chicago, not in Michigan. And I followed Juwan Howard since he was a kid, and I've rooted for him and respected him and admired him.
He was
because of what he
beloved
made
in
for
Washington,
himself.
D.C.
Yes.
He was.
Yes, he
Until
was.
he signed with Miami.
Well,
until
then
he
it
signed with
changed a little
Miami.
bit.
Let's take a break, but coming up is Drake getting too involved in the playoffs.
And what should we expect from the Stanley Cup Final?
Is that
We go
Drake?
from Canada to Canada.
Is that Drake?
You don't know Drake?
I think that's Drake. That's not, these
Maybe
guys
you
aren't
better
Drake.
ask Doris Burke.
It's so good to have you here for what, 22 hours?
28.
Okay, great.
28. Right out of here, baby. Milwaukee tomorrow night. Cheeseheads.
Pardon the interruption.
From the producer over our Emmy-winning loudspeaker.
When Drake rubbed Nick Nurse's shoulders during the game, he was blank.
Therapeutic because he was acting as a nurse to Nick Nurse. Forget this junk. I'm looking right in the camera at Drake. Drake, I want you to be on the PTI show. That would be good for us and good for you. Why am I asking you directly? Because the other day when his Wilbon said, I saw Drake, he dapped me up. I said, well, did you ask him to be on the PTI show? And Wilbon said, no, he's not going to be on the PTI show.
Drake's too big
You
for that.
should be on the PTI show. If you're going to be the mascot of a team,
Ooh, a mascot.
come over here and let us talk to you about that team. Look at that. Very, very therapeutic.
In live time
This is
last
for
night.
Drake.
That made me scream out loud, Tony. My word is Spike Lee 2.0, and I'm stealing that from Reggie Miller, who used it last night. But that's perfect. Spike Lee 2.0. Spike Lee did this. Drake, though, is much more aggressive along the sideline than Spike was. Even when Spike gave Reggie the double choke signal, there was something sort of cuddly about it.
Why is Drake allowed to do this, to wander like that?
You think there's anybody bigger in Canada than Drake?
I don't.
Let me
no
say
idea.
to you,
Celine Dion,
by the way,
your
you know
favorite
what,
singer of all time.
No, Drake's bigger.
Bigger than
you,
Celine Dion?
You know what Nick Nurse cared more about last night when he was given the news? When he was given the news that the Cubs had a walk-off Javi Baez
Cubs.
in the
That's right.
ninth,
Single.
that
Pinch
made
hit.
Nick Nurse happier than that shoulder thing.
But not happier than winning.
Not happier than
Next.
winning.
The Blues and the Bruins make for a blank Stanley Cup final.
A resumed Stanley Cup final. They were in the finals in 1970. The Blues were in the finals the first 3 years they were in existence, and they never won a final game, so they've never yet won a final game. I am rooting for the St. Louis Blues for a variety of reasons. They are the franchise of longest duration that has never won.
Yeah.
Never won. They have the best nickname in sports. I believe that. They were, did you know this? I found this out this morning. January 2nd, they were DFL in the league.
Yes, they were.
And
that's
unbelievable.
But that's the appealing part of their story, Tony.
And I know who Craig Berube is. I know he played for the Capitals.
Berube,
And I didn't know that about Butch Cassidy or Bruce Cassidy.
Bruce Cassidy. Listen, They did this in 1970, these two teams, and that makes this Stanley Cup final nostalgic. That's Bobby Orr tripping and going through the air.
Flying in
what
the
I
air.
think is the greatest photo in NHL history.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
So I'm going to say nostalgic, by the way. Can you name the other teams that came into the league
of course I
with
can.
the St. Louis Blues? Do it.
The Pittsburgh Penguins did, the Philadelphia Flyers did, the Minnesota North Stars did, the LA Kings did, and the Oakland Golden Seals did. What do you think
looked
you're
it up
dealing with a
today.
rank amateur
You looked it
here?
up today.
Get out of
You
here.
had a researcher.
Get
do it.
out of here.
You didn't get that on
Next.
Last one. It's blank that Cody Bellinger is hitting .404.
It's early. It's May 22nd. Traditionally, you begin to pay attention on July 1st. If a guy is hitting 400, you begin to think about
Not
it.
till then.
Do I think he's going to hit 400? Of course not. His highest batting average in the majors is 267. But at the moment, Mike, he leads the entire major leagues in runs, hits, RBI, batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. So he is a guy you have to pay attention to. Plus, I found out today he's the fastest guy in baseball from home to first.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Left-handed, and he beats it down the line. But when it happens this early, as you point out, it's just kind of nice. That's all it is. It's way too early.
Yeah.
You not only do you have to get to July, to me, you have to get past the All-Star break. And there's only
Oh,
two
that second
guys
week in July, too.
in our adult lives who did this. Tony Gwynn and Pete Rose. They were
so George Brett?
three.
George Brett, yeah.
Those guys, they
Yeah.
were the ones who, I mean, you know what Rod Carew must make it for? Didn't
Maybe.
Rod Carew hit 391, 388?
He may
388
have.
Rod Carew.
But was he at 400 in the middle of July, really? I don't think so. Eat your words, by the way. Let's take one last break, but still to come. Why was Harold Ramirez credited with a catch on this particular fly? That's not a catch.
The Chiefs are going to find out whether the NFL is going to take up their proposal to guarantee both teams a shot in overtime. You know what? For Pete Rose, he wasn't at 400. It was the 56-game chase.
How about
he got to what? 44.
44, I believe.
That was his.
How about Bellinger's leading the majors in everything?